Do you believe the Trump campaign and Trump himself is sincere? Do you see a home? You talk about this as being Bobby's decision. Do you see a home for RFK Jr. in the Trump administration, Health and Human Services, something to that extent?
I would fully support it. I would fully support a strong partnership dedicated to this issue.
This better be on up and up.
I guarantee it.
Let's do this.
There goes the neighborhood.
I will never get the play.
If this happens, Trump will win in a landslide. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. Make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button. Get the merch link in the description section. The discount code will pop up here. Get you one of these shirts called Communist, because we know that Kamala is a communist. And the funny thing is, I was at my son's football practice, and somebody said, "Oh, B. Tatum, what do you?" Oh, so they thought I was supporting Kamala, and they realized that she's a communist. Like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the videos that I saw, and I thought that people were lying when they said the woman who is the running mate of Kennedy Jr., that she had made reference that her, I guess, options are for them to run, continue to run, or endorse Trump. Continuing to run means that they could probably lose to Kamala Harris, and joining Trump means that Kamala Harris will lose for sure. And they want Kamala Harris to lose for sure, and they know they're not going to have a real victory. So I thought somebody made this up and lied and came up with some theology, and then I saw the video. This is literally a video with evidence from the Impact Theory podcast. You can go find the podcast. Maybe we'll put the link here if we can find it. But listen to what she says, and if what she says is true, I honestly believe that if Kennedy Jr. endorses Donald Trump, there's no way in the world Kamala Harris win. And I think that would be the right thing to do. You're talking about Joe Biden dropping out the race for the betterment of the country. Yeah, right. He couldn't. He had to. If they make a decision to back away from their own ambition to support Donald Trump, I think a lot of middle ground people will say, okay, we're going for Trump. That's going to be the ace in the hole if they actually do this. Listen to the clip.
My gut tells me right now is that we just have to keep being honest. I got to just keep being honest. I got to keep focusing on what matters the most outside of party lines. I need to focus on a vision that goes beyond November. And if that means that we stay in, and you know, there's benefits to staying in. If we get over 5% of the vote, we actually establish ourselves as a party. 71% of Americans want a strong third party with a real shot at winning.
No, they don't.
There's even public funds available if we get over 5% of the vote. So we could get, I think it's like $13.5 million in public funds to keep the party going. And that's, you know, that's worth something. That means that we can position for a real third party election in 2028 where we don't have to go around and spend tens of millions of dollars on ballot access, which means that we can spend all of that time and money campaigning. So, you know, there's two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
Now,
Now, I didn't hear the rest of the conversation. Y'all can go watch it on Impact Theory. But what I will say is, from what I heard, I think it's a valuable, reasonable alternative.
I have to say there's only one party that has obstructed a fair election for us. And unfortunately, it was the Democratic Party. They've done everything they can, including creating PACs to prevent us from being able to have ballot access.
Yeah, it's interesting because you were saying that you could stay in and run the risk of Kamala Harris win, or you could walk and you could join forces with Donald Trump. When you say join forces, Nicole, what do you mean specifically?
Well, this idea of a unity party, an idea of us coming around these principles of fighting for liberty in this country, fighting for our children's health. We have the worst chronic health crisis in the world right now. Over 50% of children are diagnosed with some chronic disease. This is unconscionable. Yeah. And we are willing to work with anyone who is sincere in their endeavor to fix and address this issue.
Do you believe the Trump campaign and Trump himself is sincere? Do you see a home? You talk about this as being Bobby's decision. Do you see a home for RFK Jr. in the Trump administration, Health and Human Services, something to that extent?
I would fully support it. I would fully support a strong partnership dedicated to this issue. A lot of people comment that in his first term he didn't accomplish many of the things that mothers really were hoping he would do. Made some big mistakes around the pandemic. However, I think that he is sincere. Yeah, I do.
I think it's interesting because the National Review today kind of agrees with you. It's saying that if you, in fact, join the Trump I'm not saying the Trump campaign, if you pulled out of the race, that it would be more beneficial to the Trump campaign than the Harris campaign. Is that a fair assessment?
I think that it's a tight race right now. Yeah. I wish that we had a chance to debate, that we had fair representation in the polls. I wish we had a chance to be on stage, because had we likely would have won this election. Yeah. 71% of Americans want a strong third-party option, and we delivered it in terms of ballot access. Yeah. But they're suing us. The DNC-aligned PACs are suing us to get us off the ballots right now. These are frivolous lawsuits. We've had some of the best people involved in our ballot petitions, some of the most precise, signature packages ever submitted to any of the Secretary of States. We've overcome so much to get to this point. So to even be contemplating this is tough. It's a really hard decision, and we don't come to this moment lightly. We come to this moment because in every single decision we make, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we are representing the best interest of health and wellness of young people, children, and future generations.
If the goal is to not allow communists to take over America and ruin this country and force everybody to get, because we know that's what they're going to do. Yeah, they ain't going to say it now because they'll lose the election for sure. But once they get into power, we know what their tendencies are. But it would be very honorable for them to drop out because they ain't going to win whatsoever. She did articulate a very clear path to establishing a third party, which I think is just going to convolute it even more. I think that it'll be even crazier. I think there should be no parties. I think there should be somebody that's running for office, and that person has what the country wants, or they can articulate themselves, and then that person is the best for the job. When you have parties, people get too loyal. They get too loyal to parties, and they forget about the people. They forget about the message that needs to be had, or at least the policies that need to be had to make this country a better place. They're not competing. They're only competing on one side. Let's get out of Democrats on our side. Let's get out of Republicans on our side. And whoever has the most of their base engaged will win. And that's kind of the middle people. I don't know what the moderates, how they perform, but it seems like it's just so polarizing. When in fact we could probably have an election where a person is competing for the people, not the people competing for the freaking politician. And if they dropped out, they would garnish a lot of momentum towards Donald Trump. And I think Kennedy should be in Trump's administration. Shouldn't be nowhere around guns, nowhere around gun legislation. But I think that his stance on the Fauci ouchie and all these other things that are ailments to our country, I think he has a pretty reasonable stance. And I think he could kind of articulate and mobilize a team that could prevent us from going down the path of mass inoculation, which is, it's all false anyway. It's 2024 and they still talking about, I tested positive. They just be making up anything. And they'll make up anything to put you in the bondage under the foot of the government. So I think that he does have some measurables. And I think that he's enough in the middle that he'll draw a lot of middle ground people to Donald Trump, because him and Trump together can expose how crazy and leftist and progressive the Democrat Party is. And I think that creates a scenario where we're able to reset and get back to a point where we can probably have some decent politics where somebody's actually running for the betterment of the people. So let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? Do you think that Kennedy Jr. should drop out? You think that would be a good move, or you think they should stay in and that they may siphon more votes from Kamala Harris than they would Trump? Let me know in the comment section. I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out.